Welcome to Sports Talk.
Hello and welcome. I'm Nick from Top Notch Sports, and today we're going to go over the 2021 NFL Draft safety prospects. I'm going to give you my breakdown like I did every other position. This is the last one. Congratulations, we have made it. And I can't be any happier because, this year it took me a lot of time, and that's the truth. Between COVID and everything, it was hard to find film. It was hard to find stuff, and it literally took me until the day before the draft to get these videos out and produced to you guys. So we're going to go over a few of these safeties. Just like usual, we're going to go over my draft, my grade scale first, give me the order of my grade scale, and then at the end of the video, I'll give you my personal analysis and where I rank these guys in my opinion. Again, there's two different scales, so you can either choose me, my personal analysis, or you can choose my grade scale, the unbiased scale that just basically strictly off of what I grade them, right? So I don't do any personal analysis after that. That's just strictly, well, if they get an A here and a B here, and that equals this, right? Compared to me saying, well, this person might have an 80 as his grade, and this guy might have a 72, but I still like the 72 guy better. So if you want to just go off the grade scale, there's that for you. If you want to go off my grade, my own personal analysis, you're more than welcome to do that. Besides that, we're going to hop right into this thing again. Tomorrow we'll be doing the live draft show. We got mock drafts coming tomorrow night. We're going to do some live streams, or you guys can come and talk to us. A lot is coming your way very, very soon. So let's hop right into this right now. All right, here we are, the 2021 safety prospects. Let's get this thing underway right away. Like I said, now, there's a few good guys here. I would not say, I don't know if really I would recommend taking one in the first round, to be honest. All these guys, in my opinion, none of them are like my top guy last year, in my opinion. But there's a few good ones. I would say definitely a little bit above average that they might want to take. But I don't see anyone being an absolute superstar right away. Here's my track record. And again, I haven't really scouted safeties over the year, and that's just the honest truth. Last year, I did. My number 1 was Grant Delpit. My number 2 was Kyle Duggar. My number 3 was Ashton Davis. My number 4 was Antoine Winfield. Number 5 is Xavier McKinney. Number 6, Tanner Muse. Take it or leave it, like it or not. I really don't care. This is what I saw last year. This was my personal analysis last year of how I ranked the safeties. Delpit went down with an injury. Kyle Duggar didn't really have a great season, but I did like Ashton Davis. He had a pretty decent year last year. Antoine Winfield played very good last year. McKinney went down with an injury. So we'll wait and see. I mean, this order, would I change it now? Maybe, right? Antoine Winfield looked really good. Ashton Davis is a starter. Kyle Duggar kind of got lost in a lot of who knows nonsense from last year, but it was year 1. These guys kind of came in on a really strange year. I mean, you got to understand with COVID and everything, it was hard to learn the systems and hop right in without a off season to prepare. Here's my grading scale, and this is what I use for safety. So we use in-game speed, man coverage, zone coverage, ball hawk, deflections, tackling, hip power, flexibility, cutting routes, and deep routes. And yes, this is my complete analysis after film study and pro days. All right, here we go. Here's our first guy, Javon Holland. Again, this is not my personal ranking. This is my grade scale. As you can originally see, he has a 72% is his grade, so he's earned 72% of the points possible being able to be earned, which is a little bit over 100 points. Look, this kid has a nose for the football. He jumps routes really smoothly. What impressed me the most was his hard-hitting ability. Let me tell you something about Javon Holland. This guy is easily able to cut off the route, and he has a nose for the football. He's going to get his hands on the football and pick some balls off, even at the NFL level. What really shocked me was when I watched more film on him, he was really good at hitting people, and he had pretty dang good tackling, and he can play both man and zone coverage. If you're pretty dang fast, you can cut routes, you can hit hard and tackle good, and you can play both man and zone. This is an all-around safety that can do a little bit of everything and should honestly be considered at least, in the middle of round 2. I mean, I would be shocked if any of these safeties honestly get taken in the mid-first round. I know there's a few big needs for safety, but I honestly just don't think that any of these safeties this year are really going to go in the first round unless there's an absolute dire situation where they have to. Maybe late first, maybe 25 or later, but I really don't think any of these guys should really go in the first round. Here's Javon Holland's breakdown, and again, you're more than welcome to look at this, but I'm just going to point out a few things. Okay, you see that he can both play man and zone pretty decently well. He's a ball hawk. He's pretty dang good at tackling and has really good hit power that shocked me, and he's pretty dang good at cutting routes. He cuts off routes very well. Here's the next kid, Trevon Morig. And I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. A safety who can cover in both man and zone defenses. He is very flexible as he lays out to break up passes. Great at deflecting balls, pretty good hitting as well. The only issue that scares me, he doesn't seem to cut routes enough. So, again, what does this guy do good? Well, he can cover pretty deep in man and zone schemes. He's pretty dang flexible. He can make that acrobatic diving play to swat a ball down and deflect the pass. Last but not least, he has decent hit power, too. But the issue is that I don't see him cut off routes enough. Sometimes a few of these other guys seem special in the sense that they can jump a route and cut it off and return it for 6 or at least pick it off. Trayvon Mora doesn't do that as much as I would like to see him do that. Here you go again. Here's his breakdown again. Really long, lengthy kid. Could definitely, I just see he would probably be the only guy I would see possibly going in the first round, maybe late-ish first round. But here you go again. You look at this stuff and play both man and zone, has good deflections, good hit power, really good flexibility, and good on the deep ball. The only issue with him is really, in my opinion, is his cutting routes. He needs to be able to cut routes off more often. Here's the next kid, Cisco. Hits like a mad truck. He also is able to jump routes like crazy. Needs to be used underneath, as I truly do not think he has the speed to cover deep. So again, this is a guy that's going to be more of an underneath safety. You got to use him in a limited role. He's not going to be able to play in man and zone defenses, probably mainly only zone in my opinion. But look, here he is. He can hit hard, okay? He can cut routes unlike the other guys. But again, only if you have him underneath. You don't want this guy running the deep third or have him playing in a quarter kind of a system. You want him playing in the flats or covering the out routes or drag routes over the middle of the field. You don't want him being the guy to cover deep downfield. He's pretty damn good at tackling as well. The issue is, like I said, his speed just doesn't seem to be there. He doesn't have a great deep ball defense, and he doesn't get many deflections as he's really not the most flexible guy in the world. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at it. Here you go. Again, B- for his speed. He can play a little bit of both a man and zone, but again, I would recommend you using him in zone unless you're lining him up against a really slow tight end or something. You go down here, good tackling, really good hit power, has decent flexibility, but again, nothing that I would say is absolutely insane. And cutting routes, he's pretty damn good with that. But again, the deep ball, I would not really use him on deep patterns. Here's the next guy, Kaden Stearns, and here's one of the guys I'm going to tell you right now could be a sleeper in this draft. Had an amazing pro day. I'm sorry, not a combine, but had an amazing pro day, and this guy is very versatile in the sense that he can do a little bit of everything. Pretty quick, hits hard, and good on the deep ball. He does a pretty good job cutting routes off as well. So what does this guy do good? Well, he's one of the fastest safeties in this draft, running a 4.4 140 at his pro day. His vertical is very good too. I think he had the best vertical in the draft with a 42-inch vertical. He plays very good zone defense, and he hits like a truck. Not as good as the other guys, but he still hits pretty dang good. His weakness is his flexibility. He's not one of those guys that are going to really be diving up, tipping a ball away, or crazily, acrobatically. He's one of these guys that are going to be much more trying to get there using his speed and his pure athleticism, but he doesn't have that acrobatic movement in his hips and his body that's going to be able to make him fly up and down the field and swat balls down, if that makes sense. Here you go again. Not really a man guy. He's much more of a zone guy. Even though he has the speed, he could probably develop his man scheme better. I just wouldn't recommend that for him. He didn't run a lot of it in college, to be honest. He's a decent ball hawk, but he's not great. He's not really good at deflecting balls. And again, that kind of goes side and side with his flexibility. He's not able to really jump up and be flexible enough to get a hand on it. Now, he does have a very good vertical, so he can jump up. It's just that he's not flexible enough to make those acrobatic plays. And me personally, I would say I would show you in person what I mean, but I can't. I'm not the most flexible guy in the world that's able to swat down these balls, so I can't do that either. Tackling, it's okay, but it's nothing special. He does hit pretty dang hard. He's okay at cutting routes and okay on the deep ball. Here's the next guy, Jamar Johnson. I'm pretty sure he played some cornerback back in his day, so he has a lot of the ball skills that you will want to see in cornerbacks, and he's great in coverage. Jamar Johnson is one of the best cover safeties in this year's draft, if not the best. Probably the best man cover safety in the draft. He has great coverage skills, can flip his hips with ease, does not have great form tackling, but he's able to cover great for a safety, and he can bring a guy down. So again, in the NFL. Will he be a great tackler? Probably not. I mean, he's not going to be a phenomenal form tackler, but I'm not going to knock that against him. Look, here we go. He's good in man and zone. Again, being a former cornerback, he can do a little bit of both. He's great in coverage all around, tight coverage, and he can flip his hips with ease. His only issue is his hip power. Not going to lay anybody out like a few of these other guys that we mentioned before. Here you go when you look at him again, B plus and man in a B zone. B zone's about average, but really for the safety position, he's pretty dang good at covering man coverage for the safeties. Pretty decent ball hawk, pretty decent at deflecting passes, but not a bad. Well, again, he can get people down, okay, but his form is iffy, and that's why I put that in there. His form is iffy. He has pretty decent hip power. I mean, not really average hip power, a little bit below average, but again, for a former cornerback, B minus is not bad. You usually see C pluses. He's not bad. He can bring somebody down and hit him decently hard. It's just not as like a normal safety would be. I should put it that way. Flexibility, he's very flexible. Again, he has those amazing ball skills. He doesn't really cut a lot of routes. Again, he's average in that area and average on the deep ball. Here's against the Hamza Nasiruddin. And let me tell you something. This guy has incredible size, okay? The issue is he is probably not going to be a safety. He played a lot of the butt position in the NFL, which is a safety linebacker hybrid. Could be really special at the next level if given a role that best fits his game and paired up with good coaching. Again, this guy's 6'3", 215 pounds. He's a linebacker safety hybrid would be his best role on a team. Reminds me kind of like a Jeremy Chin, besides I don't think he's as fast or going to be as good of a playmaker. I mean, this guy, long, lengthy guy, one of those guys that is kind of like that Jamal Adams scheme fit. Those guys that are that linebacker safety hybrid. He can do that role perfectly. He's a pretty dang good tackler, has good hip power, and has tons of talent to work with, being 6'3", 215. The interesting part is his weaknesses. His experience at safety is one of his weaknesses. Again, if I'm studying these guys at safety, he doesn't play a lot of safety. He played a lot of the buck position, which is that linebacker safety position, and he doesn't have the top end speed. And again, not running a 40-yard dash does not help me say, yeah, this guy's fast. On film, he didn't look the fastest, and not running a 40 does not help his case. Here you go. You're more than welcome to look at this. Break this down. Again, good tackling, good hip power, but you got to question things like his man coverage and even his zone coverage for that matter. Not a bad, probably would be a good safety linebacker hybrid, playing that linebacker position as a safety, as a coverage corner. I mean, as a deep safety. I don't know if we'll have the speed and the coverage ability to cover someone deep downfield. Here's the next guy, Dorius Washington, and this guy's a smaller guy who's a little bit slower. So usually I don't like these guys, but his film honestly kind of stood out a little bit to me. I don't know what it was. Really good zone coverage, safety, cuts routes, good on the deep ball, but not a great tackler, nor does he have great hitting. Look, again, like I said, he's a really good zone coverage corner. He cuts routes pretty dang solidly well, which you don't see from a lot of guys. And he's pretty dang good on the deep ball. Even though he's slow, if you put him back there in a Tampa 2 coverage or cover 2 coverage or a cover 3 high safety, he's actually excels in that role when you don't have him running a cover 3 corner position, right, where you got to backpedal and get back there. The speed doesn't really affect him too much because if you already have him back there, he's good with that. And if you throw like a curl route or a slant, he's able to jump it pretty dang well. The issues with him is his tackling and his hip power are not the best. Not a lot of film of him really coming up, making tackles or hitting somebody. And his speed of 4.62 is concerning. I mean, this is at Xavier McKinney from last year slowness. That I didn't like McKinney last year because how slow he was. Dorius Washington honestly falls in that range, and he's pretty dang small. Here you go. You're more than welcome to take a look at this. Again, the one thing that really stood out to me on his film was his cutting routes and his deep ball ability. And not only that, but his flexibility and his ball hawking ability. This guy's a playmaker with a ball in the air. Here's the next guy, Damar Hamlin. Damar Hamlin has pretty good pursuit and reaction time on screen passes. He can come down and make a tackle. He can play both man and zone, which makes him extremely valuable. Again, this guy can do a little bit of everything. He has good pursuit, good reaction time, right? If you have him in a zone and there's a little throw underneath, he's able to react to the play and come up and make the tackle, especially on screen passes. They throw a little screen, he can react and get there pretty fast. He's a pretty dang good tackler and can play both a little bit of man and zone. The issue is, again, his speed. 4.6 is not cutting it for me. I don't like 4.6 speed secondary players, okay? That's just my pet peeve. You got to have decent speed behind you, especially if you're not really a hard hitter. Bring something to the table. If you're not fast enough and you don't bring that hitting ability, then what are you bringing? Slow coverage. And that concerns me. He doesn't do a good job cutting routes either. Not a lot of film shows me that he can cut routes, and he's not really great on the deep ball. Here you go. You look at him again. A lot of B's and B minuses. Again, he has that versatility to do a little bit of man, a little bit of zone. But the thing that's really interesting to me is he's really not great at either. Okay, which is kind of concerning. Here you go, Richie Grant. Now, Richie Grant is a guy who, in my opinion, could be decent, a little undersized, but he has some flaws here. Good at covering in zone schemes. Again, if you put him in a zone scheme, he might honestly succeed. The issue is that he's not really a great tackler. He doesn't have great hit power, and again, his deep ball is not the greatest. What he can do is come up and make some decent tackles, decent tacklers. He's not, meaning if you put him in a zone, he can come up and possibly make a tackle here and there, which I would hope every player in the NFL can do. The issue is that he's not a great tackler like some of these other safeties. When you look at him here again, good in zone, right? If you put him in zone, he might honestly succeed. If you put him in man, not so much. He's a little bit smaller, not the fastest guy in the world, not the greatest tackler, doesn't have great hit power, not really great on the deep ball. So really limited possibilities that a coach can work with here. Richard Lecounte, or Lecounte. I don't know what you call him, but here we go. Really good at hitting and can tackle well. Him only being 5'11" and as slow as he is sort of scares me. He is a hard hitter, but I would not trust him in coverage unless he's in a strict zone scheme. Okay, listen. This guy really concerns me. He has good hit power, I'm not going to deny, and he can tackle pretty dang well. But running a 4.79 40 and on film him looking slow, that's supposed to be LBS, 5'11" and 196. If you're 5'11", 196 pounds, not even reaching that 200-pound margin or being 6 foot, I do understand if you're like 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", and you're running a 4.79. If you're 5'11", 196, running a 4.79 and looking slow on film, that's what concerns me. He's not a great ball hawk, not good in man or zone coverages, really, like these other guys. Can't really cut routes, and he's not really good on the deep ball. This guy is a strictly strong safety, someone that can hit hard and can tackle pretty well. Here you go. You'll look at him again. Decent hit power, decent tackling, but that's about all. Everything else is like B minuses and C. All right, here's the next guy, Tyree Gillespie. And look, this guy's an interesting guy too. Went towards the end. Didn't have a lot of film on him, to be honest with you. There's not much to look at. But what I did see is that he's another guy that there wasn't much film on. He seems to like he can tackle pretty well, but do not see him a lot in coverage, although he does have the speed to show that maybe he could become and develop as a coverage guy, as here he is right here. Look, he tackles well. He ran a 4.43 40. So again, he has decent speed, but limited film. Didn't have a lot of film that I could watch, which was kind of concerning. When you look at this here, again, his in-game speed's pretty dang good. It was good watching him in-game, and a 40 time it ran pretty dang good. The interesting part is, though, I didn't see him cover a lot on film. It was a lot of lack of coverage for the last few guys. Wasn't much there for Tyree Gillespie. The next guy, Jamian Sherwood. And this is another guy that there wasn't much film on, limited film. But what I saw, I kind of like big, tall, lengthy kid, flexible enough to get his hands on the football, just not that fast. He can lay the hits, though, very well. So again, he's a bigger guy, 6'1", 216. He's flexible enough to create those deflections that you like to see, and he's pretty good at coming up and making some hits. The tough part is with him is not covering the deep ball. He's an underneath safety for sure, in my opinion. Not a great deep ball safety. Can't really cut a lot of routes, and his speed's just not there running a 4.76. But again, being 6'1", 216, this is a little bit more reasonable, unlike the guys that are like 5'11", running 4.7s and 4.8s. Here's his stuff right here in game speed. Again, not the fastest guy in the world, but again, he has decent deflection, decent hit power, and that's really all that this kid brings to the table. Didn't have a lot of film to watch, so I really can't judge him like I judge the other guys. And here, last but not least, Paris Ford. And this is a guy, flash warning, I'm telling you right now, this is interesting here, okay? Coaches are going to have to get creative with this kid. He hits like a mad truck, but he is not going to be able to play a deep safety position in the NFL, considering he is slower than most linebackers. He hits hard, tackles well, but he is so slow and not great in coverage. Look, this guy is not the tallest guy in the world either, but he hits like a freaking mad truck. Hits better than anybody I've seen this year in the entire draft. He hits extremely hard and he tackles great. The interesting part is, though, he ran a 4.85 40. He looks like he accelerates fast on film, But this 40 time was concerning. It wasn't just one fluke. Both of his attempts running the 40 were extremely slow. And 4.85 speed, I mean, for crying out loud, I've seen offensive linemen run 4.9s, 4.88s around there before. He's not going to be a great deep ball guy, and he's really not the greatest in coverage. Running a 4.85, there's not too many guys slower than you. Here you go again. Speed across the board, really not good. But again, you see that amazing hit power and tackle. If coaches can get creative and put him in a scheme where he works, this guy could be somewhat special at his limited role and his limited ability. Here's my 2021 draft compared to 2020 according to my grade scale using this year's scale. If you look at just the grades, okay, and I got to tell you this, here's my flash warning again. This year's grading, I feel like I was a lot more lenient and graded higher on safeties than I was last year. Hence why some of these players are ranked a lot higher than some of these other players. So, for example, Holland, I had ranked at 1, Moore 2, Cisco 3, Delpit 4, Stearns 5, Jamar Johnson 6, Humpson Asiladine 7, Dorius Washington 8, Richie Grant 9, and Damar Hamlin 10. This is according to this year's scale. And again, when you look at this, you're like, holy crap, how many guys you have from last year? Delpit and wait, yeah, that's all you have is Delpit. And yeah, that is all I have is Delpit because again, last year's scale, I feel like I graded a lot lower for some reason this year. So it must have just been a change of, and there goes a little bit of bias there from year 1 to year 2. The change in a year, I could change how I grade. So I graded a little bit higher this year for the grade scale. Here you go. You look at the 2021 to 2020 rankings via personal analysis. This is, in my own opinion, how I rank the top 15. I still think Grant Delpit, in my opinion, was the best safety coming out so far. Trayvon Morig, I would say it's 2. Holland's 3. Duggar would be 4. I like Duggar a lot. I don't know how he's going to pan out, but I did like him when I watched him. Davis would be 5. Winfield would be 6. Cisco would be 7. Stearns would be 8. Johnson would be 9. Xavier McKinney would be 10. Thompson Asiladine would be 11. Dorius Washington would be 12. Tanner Muse would be 13. Richie Grant would be 14. And Damar Hamlin would be 15. Here you go. Here's my 21 safety rankings according to the scale. This is what you saw earlier in the video. Holland 1, Moore 2, Cisco 3, Stearns 4, Johnson 5, Asiladine 6, Washington 7, Hamlin 8, Grant 9, Lecounte 10, Gillespie 11, Sherwood 12, and Ford 13. And last but not least, the final part of this video, my personal analysis rankings. Here we go. The 2021 safety rankings according to my personal analysis. Here we go. I got Morig being my top safety coming out of this year's draft, with Holland being 2, Cisco being 3, Johnson being 4, Stearns being 5, Asiladine being 6, Washington being 7, Hamlin being 8, Grant being 9, Lecounte being 10, Ford being 11, Gillespie being 12, and Sherwood being 13. Well, a few guys I want to point out here. Trevon Moore, the reason why I put him number 1, I still feel like this guy's range is honestly phenomenal. He just looks tall and lengthy. I think he can be very special. Although I did have Holland ranked higher than him in my grade scale, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think Trevon Morig will be better. When I look down here, Jamar Johnson, I feel like could be one of the best coverage safeties in the entire draft. He could be an absolute steal for a team. And last but not least, another guy, Kaden Stearns. This guy, again, he has the speed. He has the things that are tough to teach, the physicals to teach. He has those things. I would love to see him in a role. And my very, very last guy would be Thompson Asiladine. This guy has a loads of talent to work with. If someone uses him correctly, I feel like he could be great. Let me go and talk to you guys now in person. And that's that. That is all the players in the 2021 NFL draft that I'm scouting. I'm pretty sure that's a little bit over 160-something prospects. I'll have my official numbers out later. And again, if you go to our Instagram, I'll post all my PowerPoint slides for you guys to go and see. You guys are more than welcome to look at that. None of this will change. It will always be here. It's not going anywhere unless YouTube shuts us down again, like they did last time when we were on our old channel. I did the same thing last year. I had all my rankings out, and then for some reason, YouTube shut us down. No idea. So, guys, be sure to leave a like, subscribe. Mock draft tomorrow. We're gonna do that actually tonight. Maybe we'll do some live streams tomorrow throughout the day, leading up to it. Maybe do a mock draft with you guys, talking to you guys. And then we'll do a live draft show when the draft comes on, and we announce picks before they're even announced in the draft. So see you guys soon. Peace. Be sure to stay tuned and tune in tomorrow. We would love to see you guys there. See you guys soon. Peace. We are built better.